What is going on, YouTube? Patrick here. Happy Saturday, everybody. Time to do a little bit of live thrifting. I'm going to try something a little different this week, so stay until the end to see what everything is worth. Always trying to improve these videos, make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more interactive. Of course, if you find something interesting or see something that I missed, please do leave me a comment. Would love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. All right, so this was a Friday night. I headed out to Savers. Amber gave me a little bit of free time to go and play. So headed over here to the video game section first, and surprisingly there was some video games to look at. Like a lot of times with our thrift stores here in Connecticut, there's just not a lot to look at as far as video games go, but there was a good number of them up there. Now, of course, I didn't find anything worth buying. I don't remember the last time I actually bought a video game at a thrift store. Hopefully you guys have some better luck. There was a couple Rock Band games up there, and I was like, I think it's number 3 that actually is worth money, so always looking to see. Headed back to the electronics there, and you can see there was somebody already kind of monopolizing that space. So started going through the pegs, which actually were nice and full there, which is a pleasant surprise. A few different calculators. There's some good remote controls there. There was actually a bunch of ink in the store this day. Of course, all of it's expired. And honestly, you guys, I don't buy a lot of ink to resell. I've just not had a lot of luck with that. I'm sure that there are some stuff that I should be buying, but just like I just have not had a lot of luck. So I tend to just leave it there. That being said, I am always really curious about it. So I'm always looking at it when I find it, but almost never buy anything. I did just see something that was pretty interesting right there. That's an invisible fence, like the broadcast station for one of those. That definitely went into the cart, and I did end up purchasing that. So again, stay to the end to see what that one is worth. There's a Skylander portal. There's more pegs down there with more ink on them. I always like it when the pegs are full, right? There's always a much better night when you can look at what everything is on there. Like when there's stuff to look at. Alas, oh, there we go. Got a chance to go and take a look at the electronics, and you guys can see there's not much to be had there. Sometimes you get lucky and you find something that nobody really paid attention to. Like I saw that stereo down there, and I thought maybe it was one of those old ones that I know is worth money. It was not. It was pretty much nothing worth even paying attention to. I know a lot of people who buy and sell sewing machines, but that is not me. So I'm not going to be buying any sewing machines. All right, so headed around the corner here. This is where all the kitchen appliances are, like all the small ones here. And honestly, I've done pretty well. I've gotten to be a pretty big seller of these kitchen appliances. And they also have this little section on the end where there's more electronics. That box looked interesting, but of course I opened it up and it was empty. Gotta love that, right? Gotta love when you think, oh, this one's going to make me some money. And then you open it and somebody else thought the same thing and decided to just take it with them. There's a pretty interesting looking, like almost waffle maker, but it's a bunt maker up on top. There was a George Foreman grill, which did end up being brand new in the package. I checked both of those out. The George Foreman, just not worth it at all. Maybe on a different platform. Right, that's maybe something I should look into, but definitely not on eBay, which is still my primary platform. Still trying to learn a little bit more about Amazon, try to get into that, but have not gotten there yet. In last week's video, you can see there's that the oven down there on the bottom shelf. It was up at I think it was up at the case last week, and of course it didn't sell up there. They moved it back here, and it's not selling back here. I think that the prices on those have gone completely through the floor. Definitely they used to be worth some money and they just are not anymore. I still own 2 of them. One of the other YouTubers had suggested that they were worth some money, so I picked up a couple and so far have not made any money, have not broken even on it at all. You guys can see that I did put that the the Elite Bunt Maker into the cart. I opened it up to see if it was brand new. I was hoping it was. It wasn't. I did still end up picking it up. Like I said, go ahead and wait till the end, see what it was worth. I did end up putting that George Foreman in the cart as well, and like I said, I did look it up before I left the store. Didn't end up picking it up. I think it was only worth. I think they wanted $10, and it was only worth like $20. So maybe a little bit of money to be made, but just not really enough for me to be like, this was super interesting, right? So you can see I opened it up. Somebody else had already done the same thing and tried to cram everything back in there incorrectly, of course. That's usually the way it is with some of these new things in box that are not sealed, like especially when it's later in the day. People have already had a chance to kind of go through stuff. But yeah, that's pretty normal. So, yep, there you go. Put those in the cart, and then I'm going to head over to, I think, maybe around the corner. Oh, I headed around here next to the bunts. There was more of these Temptations by Tara here. This one, I really thought the pattern was a really nice pattern. There was a couple of them. Honestly, you guys, I still have not found any of these that were really worth it. I did pick up a huge box set last spring, and I ended up selling that for over $100. But it ended up having like between 15 and 20 pieces, I think. So these individual sets here, just not really worth it. You can see I tapped that one because I liked some of these patterns. That Christmas one that I had picked up, it did have some pretty big cracks in it. So did not take that. So what I'm going to do here, since I didn't recognize the pattern, I pulled out my phone and I got Google and I searched by image to try and find the pattern, and did not find it. So I wasn't going to spend a lot of time. I knew that it probably wasn't going to be worth more than like $15 to $20. So yeah, just left that behind. This lady here, she was standing right in front of something that I wanted, but I was a little rude and reached over and grabbed it. That was a Nordic ware bunt pan right there. If you've watched this channel at all, I love reselling Nordic ware. That stuff, it doesn't flip like super fast, but if you guys can believe it, it actually sold while I was recording this voiceover, like probably a couple minutes ago. It sold for full price. Again, stayed at the end, see what it was worth. I paid a little bit too much for that, but still not a bad pickup. This was I think they called it like hammered aluminum. I did look this up. I did go on the cart and come with me. I took a little bit of a risk on this because it was a little bit outside my comfort zone, but I was like, I wanted to try something and I thought it was pretty interesting. So I was like, all right, I think maybe it will sell, one of those kinds of things where it was nice quality. It was a little older. It didn't need a ton of cleaning. So yeah, it went in the cart and came with me. Those guys right there that I'm holding up, I think it's a Sunbeam. I can't remember exactly. If it's got the power cord's actually where the money is. Those can sell for like 20 to 30 all by themselves. So yeah, you can do pretty well with those. It obviously did not have the power cord. And then this, I recognized this little dolly as from a Rainbow vacuum, right? So I already am familiar with Rainbow as a brand, so I'm kind of on the lookout for that all the time. And then there was a Sirius radio. I think it was an accessories pack. That was brand new and sealed. That one right in the cart. It did not come with me. It was really not worth it at all. Again, maybe at some point on a different platform, I will do that. I'm also always looking for wireless or cordless phones like that. That one was, I don't know, it looked a little bit iffy, so it just left it behind. Much easier sometimes to just, if you have a bad feeling about something, just leave it. It's probably going to be not worth your time if your gut's telling you that it's a bad deal. All right, so the pegs were pretty full over here. Also, it's kind of a mixed bag of electronics and non-electronic stuff. You could see there's just so much of this ink. Likely I could have made some money on this, you guys. I don't know. But you also saw me like grab a little case. That was, in my mind, a camera case, right? So a lot of times you can get cameras at a pretty good deal in this thrift store just because it's still in the case and people didn't have a chance to look inside and what it was. And right, a few of these Canons, old 35 millimeter point and shoot cameras are doing pretty well right now. So definitely something you can pick up a lot of times for cheap and flip for big money. Even if it's not a Canon, right? Even some of the Nikons and some of the Kodaks can do okay. But some of those Canons are, oh my gosh, a couple $100 at a minimum sometimes. So yeah, like I also took a look at the knife section over here. I've seen some people do well picking up silverware and picking up knives. Honestly, I don't tend to do a lot of that myself, but I'm always curious, right? I'm always curious what's going to be on the shelf. And of course, I'm going to be looking for like Cutco, right? That one is pretty easy to identify knife, and you're going to do great if you find any of them. So headed back over here, went over to the golf clubs. I saw this really nice looking driver here. It was in good shape. It was actually like kind of a little bit newer looking. And then I noticed, oh, wait, there is a huge dent right there on the end. Um, I don't know much, but I know if it's dented, it's probably not going to do well. So it went back into the bin. And then you could probably see it in the background. There's all these bags back here. And right, for bags, you're looking for quality. There's going to be tons and tons of quantity, but you're looking for quality. And usually you can tell just by feel. Yeah, as soon as I picked it up, it felt great. And then I found a big defect on it. So back it went. Always a sad day when you think you found something good and then it turns out it's broken or torn or just not going to be worth it. All right, well, next stop in the thrift store this evening was the toy section. I oftentimes will come back here a little earlier in my trip, but I just had a bad feeling that I wasn't going to do well back here. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the appliances section first, which is what I did. And you saw I found some pretty interesting stuff back there. So, headed to the toys. It's not destroyed like you'd find it maybe at the end of the day on a Saturday, but definitely shelves are a little bit more crazy. And I saw this Lincoln log set up top here, and it was filled to the top, which normally if you buy a set, even brand new, they're not going to be filled to the top. So I was hopeful that there was going to be more pieces in there than advertised. I think there was supposed to be 172 pieces, which is already pretty good. You can average, 25 cents to 50 cents, maybe on a good day, $1 per piece. The dollar is probably unreasonable, but probably like 25 cents a piece in these big bins. So I'm always looking to collect them, always looking to maybe combine them into a big lot. Next stop was around the corner at the pegs for the toys. Yeah, you guys can see the pegs for the toy section here are bare. I've never really liked this thrift store very much for the toy section. It just is almost always empty. There's another thrift store, same brand, Savers, that's in another town not too far from here, and that one always has like full pegs. So always a lot more fun to go there. But even still, occasionally I get lucky here and I find some interesting stuff. I think that's like a Mega Bloks, maybe like Call of Duty set that was down there. Honestly, you can do well with Mega Bloks when they're brand new and sealed, but I almost never will buy them used. I almost don't even buy Legos used hardly, to be honest. For me, I've been joking with my wife about it lately. For me, eBay is kind of easy bay, right? I want to make sure that I can get the flow of stuff that I want to get listed without spending a ton of time getting things cleaned, getting things tested, getting things repaired, right? I like to focus on things that are going to be a little bit simpler, and brand new is where it is, right? Brand new can do really well. And I'm experimenting with doing some Amazon right now. So I'm trying to get myself ungated where, of course, I can sell lots of brand new stuff there, hopefully. Next stop in the thrift store here was the case. There was a Skylanders case down there, and then there was a bunch of old Beckett, I think, football guides. I can't remember. Maybe it was even magazines. Can't remember exactly what it was. Nothing super interesting that caught my eye. And then I headed over to the book section, and I found a couple Stephen King books that were pretty interesting. These are from the Dark Tower series, and it's actually the same book in the series. What you want to do with this one, guys, there's at least 7 books in the main series. You might be able to get even an 8th book that was written after the series was completed, and it was kind of like an afterthought. But if you can get all 7 books, honestly, if you can get them in hardcover, they're going to do really well. And if you can get them all in paperback, they're probably going to do well. And I've even seen some people do mixed lots of both paperback and hardcover, mostly because the first 4 books are heavily printed in paperback, and then the last 3 books are heavily printed in hardcover. Just because there actually was a big gap in the middle of the series when Stephen King didn't write any new books for a couple of years. I think it was 10 to 20 years, something like that. And so, yeah, by the time the 5th book came out in hardcover, everybody bought it because everybody had been waiting for this book for years. So that's kind of why a lot of people are having success selling them mixed, just because that's kind of how you're going to find them. But hey, this Savers, they're $4 a piece. I think I've got a couple of those already in my bin, just kind of waiting to find some mates. So I was like, you know what? Let's just put these back and not risk it tonight. In the wooden part of the store here, right, there's usually like some little knick-knack shelves here, and I found this shoe shine box, but the top was completely broken. Otherwise, this would have been coming with me. I've had pretty good luck with shoe shine boxes, usually selling anywhere from $25 to like $45. Just kind of depends on the brand, depends on how good a condition it's in. I also did take a quick look at the mugs here, but not really finding anything there either. So I always do a second pass through the store. On the second pass through, I did see this. It's a cast iron enameled pan. I didn't recognize the brand on it, and you guys can kind of see inside of that there. It's kind of beat up, kind of junky. I wasn't even sure if this brand would have been a good one. But honestly, a lot of these, like especially the bigger the size, they're going to do pretty well no matter what brand it is. Some of the ones like a Le Creuset, that's going to do fantastic. A pan that size is probably going to be going for over $100. So, you know, the hard part always that a lot of people know it. And of course, there's a Whirly Pop there. Always love to find those. It's always so much fun. We have a big affinity for those in our family. Everybody's got at least one, and we love making popcorn in them. It does a really good job. All right, you guys, that's going to do it this week. I'm going to get to the comps here in a second. If you've enjoyed this content, please do smash that like button. And if you're interested in subscribing, please do so. I try to post new content every Wednesday and every Saturday. Once again, my name is Pat.